Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the village of Cary for Tuesday, June 5th, 2018 to order with roll call, please.
Cavelli? Here. Kostler?
Here.
McAlpine? Here. Betts? Here. Weinhammer? Here. Kraus?
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I am not aware of anybody signing in. Brian, could you take a quick look? Did you sign in? Okay, he's going to grab the, but why don't you come on up? You just state your name.
My name's Tim. So I was wanting to talk to you guys about the Maplewood property. I know we've had a lot of issues with the way we want to design stuff, but I thought of another idea. So I go to the University of Illinois, and they have a college down there called CUPPA and Department of Architecture. And CUPPA is the College of Urban Planning and Public Administration. So I know a lot of their students down there, they do, for senior design, they do obviously urban planning projects like that. So they do them over the country. Sometimes companies give them to them, but it seems like a opportunity maybe if we wanted more like basically plans or insight, we can try and contact them, or I can, because I've worked with them before. And you can see if maybe some of the people, students there, if you want to do like senior design projects in this year, or work with classes maybe, it's a good way for the village to reach out and help students trying to get firsthand practical experience. And on the other side, you guys would get basically free engineering work for a giant urban planning, since our business person who's building doesn't seem to be very good at what he's doing. So I just wanted to get the trustees' feedback basically. If they were something interested, maybe I reach out for them, see if they'd be interested in working with maybe the village and basically getting more ideas and plans put forward by like new engineering students essentially in that college. So,
Well, we do utilize various colleges for internships that we bring on board for various time periods in conjunction with MBA programs for public administration. So, that's something that we're always looking at for in the ways that we can enhance.
This program's specifically meant for urban planning and development. I mean, I've seen them do projects downtown Chicago and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a way basically to have students design new ideas that maybe we didn't think about. I mean, obviously we have goals for that property on there. I mean, you can put the goals forward and they can come up with their own ideas basically and come up with new perspectives that maybe we haven't thought of before and go like that. So.
Okay. Well, I'll get you in contact with Administrator Reif, and we can get some contact information and kind of kick it around a little bit for you.
All righty.
All right, thank you. Jeff, I think you're here for a variance. If that's right, that's going to be on our consent agenda. So if you want to talk about that now, otherwise I don't think it's going to be a problem because it should go. There's nobody pulling it off the agenda, so I think you should be good. So it'll. Oh, he's for the next meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is the committee. Was there anybody? There was only one out there. Okay. Earl passed? You're the same thing? Okay. Sure. Come out. Now's the time. Perfect timing.
She wants to come up for her item.
Oh, then you want to come up for your item? Yeah, we'll be calling that shortly. Be less than 5 minutes. Thank you. I have one thing on my report, employee recognition. Mark Chernak, want to join me up front? Mark's the man. He's our public works superintendent. He's worked his way up through the ranks over the last 20 years. He's a remarkable individual. I think he's got a great staff that works for him, and I think you show them the way to do it, and they, I swear, I mean, it's the leadership of the department that we get the respect and the work done, and I think it has a lot to do with Eric and you and Mike Walsh, who's not here, but you guys do an excellent job, and we couldn't do it without you. So
thank you very much.
Small token of our appreciation for 20 years of great service to the village. Hopefully there'll be another 20 years.
Probably not.
I got you.
How about one?
One. I'm sure Eric's got some glowing remarks.
Well, now I have to change them, but no, you took all my thunder. Working your way up from maintenance worker on up to superintendent, you've definitely led by example, one of the hardest working individuals in the department. And we're always looking to you for knowledge of what's happened in the past, what's happening now. You help us plan for the future. Can't say enough about you. You are a big part of our team and our family in Public Works, so I'm going to tease you a little bit here. But 20 years is amazingly long tenure for anyone in a career like this, especially as hard of a pace and speed that we work in Public Works at. But just a reminder, 20 years ago, gas was $1.06 a gallon.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Some of our seasonal help that are working for us weren't born yet. So, and I'll stop now before I get in trouble, but no, it's an amazing long tenure and I love having you and I wish we could have 20 more years, but congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, on no regular business, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 15.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Betts,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Savelli,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Kostler,
Yes.
Thank you. Moving right along. I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution approving the execution of a sale and lease agreement between the Village of Cary Realty Executives and Galati's Hideaway for the lease of a public right-of-way.
So moved. Second.
Brian, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll just give a quick overview here, Mayor. This item's coming off the committee of the whole agenda. We finalized the sale and lease agreement here, working with Attorney Euler and his staff. The lease agreement is essentially what we had discussed. It would be a one-year lease with automatic renewals. The transfer of the sign would occur with a $15,000 payment. The village would essentially act as a conduit for that payment, where it would be a pass-through from Galati's onto Ms. Fritz. The sign use, we had discussed here of Galati's Hideaway having the top 36 inches, and the second and third highest panels would be reserved for Dolce and Realty Executives. So essentially, I think the agreement here is within the discussion that we had previously, looking for the village board support with this. I know that Ms. Fritz is here and would like to comment on this, and we also have representatives from Galati's.
Where did Patsy go? Oh, you can come, now's your turn. Couldn't see you back there.
Well, I know the meeting lasted long, and everyone was under stress, and I really didn't think it through. I was surprised that you had a problem with the $1,000 a month, $1,000 a year payment, and that shocked me. But the one thing that was said loud and clear, you guys get to make the decision. The attorney said that. But at the mayor's meeting, it was discussed that Galati's was fine with 2.5 foot, and Kim could have 1.5, where she wouldn't disappear off of that sign. And after the discussion here, it changed. And I did agree to the 3612, but I was stressed and I was tired and I was done. And one of you said, it's too bad you all have, somebody has to lose, somebody has to win. I went back to my board, the Cary Square board, and asked if I could move the signs to the back of my building, back of Dolce. And it took 2 weeks to get the appointment, 1/2 hour for them to say no. And I didn't come forward to ask the village if I could do that because I had to get approval from my board first. And I know how to follow the rules. But at that time, I wrote a letter or an email to Brian that if I would like to propose going back to the 18 inches, 30 inches, and the rest to stay the same. And I would be happy to give everyone for free, as the board wanted, and maintain the sign. It's a big bargain for me to have the Dolce sign up there, because at 12 inches, it disappears, and it looks like she failed. So I ask if I could just keep the sign, do everything that you're saying that you want. I'll give it to everyone for free. I'll maintain it. And I ask this to be presented to Galates through Brian. And if he wanted to have ownership, I'm fine with that. And I'd reduce my price to $12,600, what I paid for it. And then I would still be fine, but he responded immediately, no. I mean, that wouldn't work. And what I'm asking is there any options? I mean, that really meets everything the board talked about. And I answered that under extreme stress. And Galates had repeatedly, in writing and at your meeting with the mayor, said that they were fair. They thought it was fair to have the 30 inches, the 18 inches. They had a problem with me having 16 inches on the sign, and I'm fine. I don't need that. I do my business 100% referral. Dolce doesn't. She has lots of young stylists that depend on that. And so that's what I'm asking. If there can be an option, or if, I have to honor the other one.
Well, I think from the village's perspective, we invested an enormous amount of time with this topic, both at Village Hall and through committee meetings. And we encouraged you and Galates to come to an agreement. It went back and forth over several weeks. And when you finally made your proposal here at the Committee of the Whole, which is over 3 weeks ago, and you're wanting to change this now, we've gone to lengths with our attorneys to have things put into place so that we can execute this agreement, so we can get everybody on the sign that wants to be on the sign and move it forward. So I guess I'm a little perplexed as why at the 11th hour that you want to change the already negotiated and agreed upon, the final decision.
I explained the reason is I went back to my board. It took 2.5 weeks to get a meeting with them, a half hour for them to tell me I couldn't do that. So I had no option. I wrote that letter, the email the next day. I pursued all my options. And I think you guys said, someone has to lose, someone will win. And why? I mean, it's,
I don't look at it.
I know you
apologize.
don't, but I do.
Well, I know, but I think it is a win-win situation. You
isn't.
recovered you recovered your initial investment. You're going to have free signage, and the village will be able to move on. Galates gets their placement, which was in the original agreement. And as we mentioned before, in talking with prior administrations who put this together, the intent of that agreement was not to charge anybody for anything. That's why there was nothing dictated in there about any types of fees. So we
But in
discussed
fact,
that.
that was done for 5 years before it came to me,
Well, I
with
understand.
no question.
We were unaware of that.
But is that my fault?
I
mean,
understand, but we've rectified this. We invested a lot of time in this, and if there's anybody on the board that wants to change this, but I think that, we've pretty much ran the course on this. You came to a verbal agreement at the last Committee of the Whole meeting.
And so
We've
I'm
executed.
legally bound to stand to that. I'm asking the attorney.
I haven't looked into that question, if I need to look into it. We did prepare an agreement based on the specific terms that were discussed at the last meeting.
And you do know that I left here in high stress and not really agreeing, but felt there was no other option. And so I would ask that if you can just vote on that.
So from what I'm reading from your email and things like that, what you're saying is you want to retain the sign and you still want Dolce on the top, is that correct?
No.
Okay, so Galates would still be at the top, you would retain ownership for what you want, and then Dolce just happens to it would be right below Galates with a bigger space. with the, did you say 30?
18 inches.
18 inches, okay. And then Pilates is, how big a size
30
is that?
inches instead of
Okay,
36.
so it's 30 inches, 18 inches, and then everybody else is 12?
Yes.
Or- I mean, I know we did discuss this in length, but I don't have a problem with that if Pilates is open to that and they don't have to pay a fee for it. I don't have a problem with that. It's up to the board, though, so.
It is up to the board, but I believe Pilates was pretty emphatic that they wanted to retain ownership, or they wanted ownership of the sign to move that forward.
Oh, they wanted, but they also were very clear that they would be happy with 2.5 feet before it became before the board, and then they realized they could have the whole 30.
Yeah. Well, I understand. It's frustrating for us too, because the dynamics and well, it does. This is an unsettling thing. With the dynamics change, the terms change, the sign length changed, and, you went from 36 to 30, and then you wanted to change the 12-inch to 11-inch, and, there was a lot of trying to negotiate to accommodate what you were trying to do. And
Right,
we
but it
listened to
came
this.
down to Pilates were fine with 30 inches, and I would have 18. I don't care if they own it or I own it, I'm just fighting for the 18 inches, and they would be able to buy it for less than they agreed to. They had offered 13 with Kim having the 18 inches. I turned that down foolishly, and I'm now willing to go at 12.6, and they can have ownership, Kim can have 18 inches, and they've said in writing twice to me that they would be happy, and they thought that 30 inches was fair.
All right, why don't I have, Sean is here representing Pilates. Did you want to come up and discuss this?
Good morning, Board. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. Yeah, as this has been an exhausting process, and we're fine with the 15,000 at the 36. We don't want to make any modifications.
Can you say that one more time?
We do not want to make any modifications.
So what is
So
it
we're-
currently? Is it 30, 18?
36, so the way that it's written currently right now. Yes, we don't want to make any modifications.
Even if she retained ownership and she paid for the changes herself and it didn't cost you anything, you still don't want that?
No, we do not. No.
Is there any other comments from this side?
I'm just, I just wish you guys could come to an agreement, that you guys could negotiate, and
We tried.
I understand, but from the standpoint of where I'm at, you put us in a very, very bad position, is how I feel as a board member. Because in my opinion, I do say, I feel like we're picking one business over another. And it's very unsettling. And I feel that it's something that we shouldn't be put in that position.
I agree. I believe that she should have honored the original agreement when we took ownership to give us the 36, and we would have been fine at that point. But 3 years later, she elected to try to profiteer off of it, and, we're in this position.
So just go for the roll call. Is there any other questions?
I'm just not comfortable voting on this right now, so if we're going to vote, I would abstain. If I don't know how
That would be
everybody else
fine.
feels.
I think I've got,
This has been going on for 6 months at least, and it came to a head at the
Actually,
last meeting.
3 years.
3
It's
years,
been 3
okay.
years, so,
Came to a head at the last meeting.
Yeah.
We need to finish this up.
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
all right, with that said, I'll go ahead with roll call, please.
Kraus,
Yes.
Cavelli. Yes. Betts,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Abstain.
Kostler,
Yes.
Weinhammer.
Abstain.
What's the vote?
Would be
Four.
3 or 4
There's
and
four.
2, 4 and 2 abstentions.
That passes.
Yep.
Thank you. Moving forward with our administrator's report.
Mayor, Village Board, before you and for the residents' benefit here, we have Senator Dan McConkey is having an event here, a tax reform seminar on Tuesday, June 12th here at Village Hall. It's from 10:30 a.m. to noon. So we'll be sending this out via our Cary News Weekly and also on our e-blast and get it out to the residents. So just wanted to apprise the board of that event. And then also last night, we had great feedback here from residents related to the Meyer Material property. We're currently exploring some of these ideas further, coordinating with legal counsel, with IRMA, our risk management agency, and also our engineers. And so we're going to explore those further here and look to provide further feedback to the village board related to that property. That's all I have.
Chief, you have anything for us? Director Marmoto?
Thank you. Just a couple updates for the board. First, you're going to be starting to see some signs of the first activity at the metro station with our upcoming improvements that encompass not just the new station buildings and warming shelters, but also a new pedestrian ramp, replacing the stairs at the northwest end of the platform, as well as some utility relocations. And those fiber optic relocation work, that will be the first steps that will begin soonest tomorrow. So MCI and Verizon will have their contractor doing the first protection of their line. It's not a significant relocation like the other line, so you'll just see some activity in the grassy area between the platform and the roadway. It will not impact the commuters' access to the platform, but I just wanted you to be aware that the first steps are being taken and we have some progress being made. Next, the pedestrian ramp, that's the portion I mentioned at the stairway at the west end. That work is tentatively scheduled to begin June 18th. So as soon as we get some documentation cleared from the railroad, we're hoping to have that announced formally, and we'll get word and outreach out to the commuters to let them know that the stairways will be temporarily closed while that work is performed. So we'll try to get probably at least a week's notice out to those commuters. So when that date's finalized, we will get the word out as fast as we can. And lastly, staff is also working now, following the meeting last night, to start the ordering of some of the basic equipment and signage to help us prepare for the opening of the lake facility later this summer. So we're going to get those materials prepared and within the budgets that were established with the current fiscal year, and we'll start to see some of that progress made as well to get us to get people access as fast as we can.
Before you sit down, I know I've said this before, but thank you very much for an outstanding job you and your staff did, and Brian Simmons with Courtney. It was a fascinating meeting last night. There was really great commentary. There was some really cool ideas and what we can do. And what I really enjoyed hearing about that was when you have residents that had signed up to make comments that stand up and said that my questions have been answered ahead of time. That you hit a lot of the nails on the head, and I thank you for doing that. It was a great job. So thank you again.
Our pleasure.
Can I just have a question? Thank you for, as well, I think it was a really good meeting last night, and thank you to the board members who, tabled that vote. We were able to have that meeting last night. How's the online survey going? Is it going good? Are you getting
Very
a lot
well.
of-
Courtney has some latest numbers,
a lot of good numbers?
respondents at least.
Currently 315 last I checked.
Okay.
So that's, I want to say it's doubled in the last 4 days. So we're getting good responses so far.
Nothing for you? Any future agenda items and discussion by the village board? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will ramp up at just